Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Anita Handmade Creation, and if you're old member, you're very welcome back. Thank you for coming back. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you on how to sew this dress. In my other tutorial, I didn't show you on how to cut it. Today we're going to be putting up the pieces together. So if this is something you've been wanting to learn how to go about it, keep on watching. Here I have my pieces cut up. I have both the main piece and the lining piece. Okay, I have the lining piece the same, and I also went ahead to add an interface into my main piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be picking each piece. I'll be putting them up together, making sure that I just keep them aside. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick each piece and I'll be pinning them up. First of all, what we're going to start on, we'll be starting up on the center piece. We'll be picking the center piece to pin them up to the side piece of the top. When I'm done pinning this other side, I'll take the other side of it and I'll pin that up. And if you see, I try to match this up the notches that I mark. If you take a look, I mark it up with a chalk, but you can go ahead and notch them up, okay, so that you'll be able to match up those notches and pin it up. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the back. I'll be matching it up to the center sides back, okay. I'll do the same thing to the other piece as well. Just match them up, making sure I match them up rightly. Once I'm done doing so, I'm going to do the same thing to the lining piece. After pinning that up, the next thing we want to do is to move it aside. We're going to go ahead now and pin up the center front of the skirt with the lining. You're placing right side facing right side. You go ahead and pin up the side seams and pin it down the hemline as well. Once I'm done doing so, I'm going to do the same thing to the center back as well. After pinning that up, we're going to take it to the sewing machine and we'll be stitching that up. I'll do the same thing to the lining as well. Next thing I'm going to do, this is what it look like, but first of all you have to go ahead and press that up to lay everything flat, or you can go ahead and notch them up so that everything should lay up flat. So I'll be pinning the right side of the lining facing the right side of the main piece. I'll pin the top part of it. I'll pin the side of the back as well, the center back. Okay, I'm going to pin the center back. After pinning, I'll take it and I'm going to stitch while leaving the downer part open. The part that we're going to be attaching it to the skirt, we're going to leave that part open. I'll be stitching it by 1/2 inch. When I'm done stitching, you remove all your pin, you go ahead and trim off any excess that you don't really need. Then you flip the top to the right side. Then you're going to go ahead and press that up. So I've went ahead and flipped that up. I've also pressed it up to lay everything flat. Now we just go ahead. Now we'll be moving it outside. We'll be working on the skirt of the dress. Next thing I'm going to do is I'll be stitching the side seams of the skirts. I'll be stitching the hemline like this. Remember, I've placed up my lining facing right side, okay? I'll do the same thing to the back piece as well. Then after doing so, we're going to go ahead, we'll be flipping it up to the right side. Before you go ahead and flip that to the right side, make sure you trim all the excess that you don't really need, okay? And make sure you remove all those angles that you want them to be neat and sharp. So I've done the same thing to both the center skirts and the back piece as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to be adding up the dart for the back. So what I'm going to do is I notched up my zipper allowance. I'll just mark 1 inch. From that 1 inch, I'll put the nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple divided by 2 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is going to give me 4. I'll go down by 6 inch. I'll go out by ½ inch, go in by ½ inch. I'll connect it all the way to that 6 inch. After doing so, I'll go ahead and pin them up. Normally your dart should be how long it is. It should be from your hip depth line 2 inch above your hip depth line, okay? Go ahead and pin, and after pinning we'll take it to the machine and we're going to stitch. When you're done stitching, go ahead and press it up to lay everything flat. I will be placing the right side of the skirt facing the right side of the center piece as well. The right side of the back facing the right side of the center piece. And you pin that up. You can see the way the inside is very neat, okay? This is going to work perfectly, especially for those who does not have overlock machine or weaving machine to weave that up. When you're pinning, you make sure everything goes in smoothly. After doing so, I'm going to do the same thing to the center back as well, but I'll be leaving at least 7 inch open from the waist. Before I go ahead and stitch that up, I'll be marking 1 inch each, which is what I added for my sewing allowance. I'll mark it all the way to the hemline. I'll also do the same thing to this other side as well. Once I'm done marking that up, I'll take it to my sewing machine. I'm going to stitch that up. So after stitching that up, and we left the top, from the waist about 7 inch, we'll go ahead now. We'll be joining up the waist of the top to the waist of the skirt. But before you go ahead and do so, just notch the center piece of the skirt and also notch the center piece of the top. So you take those notches and match them up together and pin it up. When I'm done pinning, I'm going to take it to the machine. I'll be stitching that up. After stitching, trim any excess that you don't need. You zigzag that up to keep this part neat, okay? When I'm done trimming that up, I'm going to take it to the ironing board. I'm going to press everything up to lay flat. The next thing I will do is to zigzag that up. Then I'll add up my zipper and we'll be done with this dress. So I hope you find this tutorial helpful. If it was helpful, give it a thumbs up, like, comment and share. I hope to see you some other time in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.